like I said, my mom was addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
She eventually lost her job. When you lose your job, you eventually lose your money.
Yeah.
When you lose your money,
We know how that goes.
stuff started getting cut off.
Sure.
Food started getting ate, but it's not getting replaced. I know for a fact that on Monday, I can eat me a hot meal,
Right. Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, and snack.
Sure.
But Friday hit, it might be the last meal till Monday.
Right.
What's up, fam? It's your man, Coach Crump. Excited about the next episode of the Boy Man King podcast with my man, 100 Grand Chizzy.
You already know. What's going on? What's going
And
on?
our special guest, Red. What's up, family?
Red Inspires in the building, man. It's good to have you. Good to have
Good
you.
job having me.
And listen, man, we're super excited because you were someone who just, hey, I see brothers doing positive on social media, and in our culture sometimes is, man, we like, yeah, you doing this thing, but I'm doing my thing.
Right,
But you was like, nah, man, I see what y'all doing. I like what y'all doing. I like what y'all about. You made a point to say that to me last year, and then you pulled up to our event, the King Conference, man. So just tell us, like, what led you to just connect with the brand, connect with the movement, connect with what you got going on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Hey, shout out to Tess, man. It's my dog, man. Decatur stand up. What's happening, man? And she hit me up last year, and she was like, "Hey, I think I got a podcast you might like." I said, "Oh, send it to me." She said they kind of on the same wavelength as where you going with yours. I said, "What's the name of the podcast?" Boy Man King. I said, "Oh, send me the link."
Yeah.
Okay.
Check the link, and I think y'all was interviewing. The first one I saw was I think y'all were interviewing DeMont Pope, and that was a powerful episode right there. The energy was at an all-time high. I was like, yeah, I felt good after that. But anyway, after that, I just followed you guys on social media, and I was like, yeah, these dudes are. I like the energy they putting out. They really holding it down for us men, showing that it's very important to have a community. You know what I'm saying, to grow with. So when the King Conference opportunity came around, I was like, I got to be in there because it's gonna be like-minded men. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I know y'all touch on subjects that, like we said, like I heard you say earlier, it's taboo. You know what I'm saying? So we have to have these conversations, especially within our community as black men. You know what I mean? So when I went to the King Conference, I didn't really know what to expect, which was good because it exceeded my expectations I did have. I didn't really know what was gonna happen. The speeches was great. The breakout rooms, genius. And very valuable, impactful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was a no judgment zone. It was a safe space. To even see the women coming to support their husbands and their spouses and whatnot. For them to be able to get a look into our world as men, without judging, without attacking, without looking at us crazy, but allowing us to be vulnerable and speak our truth. Like that King Conference brought a lot of people together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When I saw the husband and wives and they was together holding hands, and it was an embrace moment right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I had told you, man, I appreciate what you did, it was real talk. Because I was already transitioning from the lost boy to a man to the king. But like y'all say, the journey continues.
Yeah.
So me going to that King Conference was just an opportunity for me to continue to grow and get better every day.
Man, I remember when I met you at the King Conference, I just felt this like I knew this guy from somewhere else, and you just had a real presence about you that was very welcoming, and I was humbled by the fact that you was just real. You just came up to us, was talking, and the vibe was so nice. So I really want to publicly just thank you for participating, for coming, showing your love, and you've often. We post clips on a regular basis. I see your posts on a regular basis, so we share that camaraderie in that way, man. Yeah. And I really, really appreciate the energy you give, the love you show, man. It's a genuine vibe I get from you, man. So I really vibe with that, and I appreciate all the love you share with us thus far, man.
Absolutely, man.
I appreciate that, and I'm happy to just talk with you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your story about growing up. Atlanta native or Decatur? I'm still learning how we call it. Georgia? Is it Decatur?
Yeah, it's Atlanta for the outsiders, but when you get into it, man, you gotta kind of separate yourself from who you at. You know
Okay.
I'm from Atlanta as a whole.
Sure.
I've stayed on Bankhead with my pops and grandma over there. I stayed in Gwinnett with my moms. I stayed in Decatur with my grandma. That's where I was mostly raised at, in Decatur.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I went every school I went to, elementary, middle, and high school, it's the same schools my kids went to. You know what I'm saying? Still on the east side right now. But yeah, man, just ATL, man.
ATL's in the building.
Hold it down.
So let's start off, man. Like, cause I'm interested to hear your story. I heard your Red is your nickname, of course. Tell us a little bit about growing up in Atlanta, in Decatur, in Gwinnett County. Tell us a little bit about what your experiences were. Tell us about the nickname, how you got the name Red. Let's start a little bit from childhood.
Yeah.
Your parental situation, mom, dad. Like, what was life growing up for you as a youngster? Talk a little bit about that.
For sure. So, shout out to my mom, man. Rest in peace, man. She was a great woman. She died from cancer back in 2018, and man, she was. Yeah, appreciate it, man. She was a pillar. You know what I mean? My pops, shout out to pops, man. He always had the right advice.
Sure.
Whenever he got to talking, he was the type of man when he taught, people listen. He had that kind of authority, you know what I'm saying? Because I know it was about to be some good games, some good wisdom, some good life experience.
I can see that in you already,
You know
just from the time I knew. Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to my grandparents, man. Everybody know how good a grandparent is. They just too valuable not to be around. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mentioned those names, but those are the people that I stayed with throughout my childhood.
Okay.
Early on, my mom got addicted to drugs. I was it happened when I was around 8. I got 2 sisters that stayed with me at the time, my younger sister and my older sister. I didn't really know the difference at the time, right? I just thought it's mom, that's all I know. You know what I'm saying? My older sister, she was older enough, she's 4 years older than me. So she was 12, 13 at the time, so she kind of knew what was going on. And she shielded me and my younger sister from seeing a lot of things that she saw and understood. But as I got older, I can remember, she said she was clean. I was staying with my grandma all the time on Bourne Road in Decatur. And I was like, hey, Grandma, I want to go stay with my mom for a little while. She's clean. I want to go stay with her. Because at this time, I'm in middle school, so I know what's going on. You know what I mean? And my pop was like, all right, yeah, you can do that. He said, but listen, if you see any drug paraphernalia, if you see anything that got to do with drugs, let me know. I'm coming to get you.
Right.
I said, all right, yeah. Okay. I said, I told him what he wanted to hear. Okay, cool. Man, I moved in there with Mom Deuce and Gwinnett, and it wasn't even a week before I found drugs. Yeah. Hard drugs.
How old were you again?
I was 13.
Okay, so you're very conscious.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I didn't know at 8, but at 13, I know a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot by then. So I was like, dang. And that voice in my head, my pops, call me if you find any drug stuff. Man, it came in my head, but I was like, nah. If my sisters moved, they had moved out by then. So it was just me and Mom Deuce. I was like, nah, I can't leave Mom. I gotta thug it out with her.
Right. I was gonna ask you, why didn't you go there? Like, what were you thinking at 13? Because that voice is reverberated in your mind. How come you didn't call there? What was it? You wanted to protect Mom?
Yeah, I wanted to protect Mom. Okay. Like I said, it was just her alone. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't let her go through that alone. And not knowing that as a 12, 13-year-old, that's not my role.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Sure. But at the time, in my head, that is my role. Yeah. I have to be here with my mom. I got to protect my mom, make sure she's good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not calling Pop. I'm just not going to do it.
Did you make a mental shift at this time to be like, I'm going to step up my responsibility too, like to make sure protect my mom going forward? So not just I'm not going to call him at this time, but now I'm not just living with my mom. I'm going to take care of my mom. Did that shift kind of happen?
That forcibly happened. Yeah. Because the situation was this. Like I said, my mom was addicted to drugs. Yeah. She eventually lost her job. When you lose your job, you eventually lose your money. Yeah. When you lose your money,
we know how that goes.
Stuff started getting cut off. Sure. Food started getting ate, but it's not getting replaced. Right. Right. I can remember vividly. I used to hate Mondays. I used to hate them. No. I'm sorry. I used to hate Fridays, but I love Mondays. Okay. Sounds backwards, right? Yeah. But I did because I knew for a fact that on Monday, I could eat me a hot meal, right? Yeah. Breakfast, lunch, and snack. Sure. But Friday hit, it might be the last meal till Monday. Right. Because there wasn't no food in the house. I can remember going to my neighbor's house, my homeboy, his mom, I would go over there and tell a lie every night, like, hey, can I come in till my mom get home from work? I'm locked out. She let me in every time. She let me eat with them. You know what I'm saying? Let me take a hot bath. And I'll go home, right? But it dawned on me. I said, dang, I'm eating. My neighbor's feeding me. I'm eating at school. My mom's not eating. Right.
So it's just you and Mom at the house at this point. Yeah. Okay.
My mom's not eating, so I'm like, I got to do something about that, right? So the dope boy in the neighborhood, same dope boy who was pushing dopes to my mom. I went to him. I said, hey, man, I know you know my situation. I need some money. So let me get some work. Let me put me to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need some money to feed me and my mama. So he had me doing a little simple little stuff that a 12, 13-year-old would know how to do.
Sure.
Run to the car,
Right.
exchange the dope, get the money, come back. I was the runner boy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And every day after my shift, so to speak, he would pay me.
Break you off something.
It break me up. I said, hey, appreciate you. Can you take me up the street to go like to McDonald's, Burger King? I want to get me and mom do something to eat. I did it every night. And he respected the game. He's like, I got you. So every night I come home then, knock on the door, hey, mom, got some food. You know what I'm saying? You want it? Sometimes she say yes, sometimes she say no, but I would leave it in there.
Right.
And I go back downstairs, she go do her thing, and I just go get ready for school the next day. You know what I'm saying? So yes, to answer your question, I felt like I had the shift was when I was eating, even if it was just on Monday through Friday, I was eating. My mom wasn't eating, so I had to pretty much find a way to make it to where my mom could eat too.
Yeah.
Did your relationship ever evolve past that though? At some point as you grew up?
Relationship with mom?
Yeah, like how was her relationship with drugs as you became a young adult? Like,
Yeah, gotcha. So I remember one night, mom, I came home, and this time I'm like 14, and she was crying, bawling her eyes out. I said, what's going on? She said, I need to get help. I want to be there more for you and your sisters. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, all right, cool. I want you to get help too. You know what I'm saying? And my mom, my aunt had already found her like a good rehab center. It was in Philadelphia though.
Okay.
And so she had to move. So I can remember my grandma and my aunt came and picked all of us up. Mm-hmm. And I can remember she left. And I felt like, dang, this is good. But I kind of felt abandoned.
Right, this emptiness.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, what? I felt messed up. I was happy, but I felt abandoned. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, you already done abandoned me to the drugs.
Right.
Now you leaving me? I'm not able to reason that as a young man that, no, she's just going to get help for you. So she was clean from the time she went up there when I was 14 to the time she moved back home when I was 18.
Okay.
She was clean for a long time. Mm-hmm. But I still held so much resentment toward her from those earlier years.
Were you still dabbling in streets?
Yeah.
During that time as well?
Yeah. I did a lot of acting out.
Okay.
I didn't really know how to, talk to people about my situation. Even my homeboy, I'm like, man, they ain't gonna do no clown on me. You know what I'm saying?
When she left to go to rehabilitation between 14 and 18, who did you live with?
I moved back with my grandma in Decatur.
In Decatur, okay. And you kind of got connected to the D-Boys there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of my friends I grew up with, like I said, I was with my grandma majority of my life in Decatur. So my elementary friends, middle school friends, high school friends now were still my friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, we just did hot stuff, you know what I'm saying? Well, it was just, I grew up in the crunk era in Atlanta. There was a lot of fighting going on. There's a lot of neighborhoods versus neighborhoods,
right.
sides versus sides. So we was right in the midst of all that.
Yeah,
a lot of bad stuff happened, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of
was Freaknik still out when you was coming up?
I was a kid, man.
Dang.
I didn't get a chance to experience it, man.
Not that that's an important part of history.
Nah, I got you, though.
We ain't going there, bro. Freaknik was next level. We ain't going
that was,
Okay, continue.
Yeah.
So
You was in the crump, so you was Lil Jon era.
Before Lil Jon was Lil Jon.
Yeah.
Nah, he had it popping, man. Like you
Yeah,
go to the club,
yeah.
he come on the radio, it's guaranteed to be a fight.
Sure.
Because a lot of times, a lot of that smoke came from like, at that time, it was zero tolerance at high schools in Decatur.
Okay.
So you fight in school, you going to jail. So we just held that smoke in. Like, we're going to catch you in traffic.
Right.
It's going to be a party this weekend somewhere. See him in traffic, you know what's going down. They play Lil Jon, opportunities present itself.
That's crazy. Play Lil Jon, it's time to fight.
That's what he did, man. Lil Jon is responsible for a lot of problems.
But what was at the center of the beef, though? Was it just neighborhood stuff? Was it
Neighborhood stuff, man.
Jeez.
Cliques, it was cliques.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
weren't really too many gangs like that.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
But it was cliques and neighborhoods,
Yeah.
sides of towns, east side versus west side. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was real serious.
Right.
I seen a lot of people get really hurt behind that stuff.
Yeah, I always tell people, man, I never forget. I was in 8th grade when I saw how invasive it was in our black community. I was very conscious at this time. I was 14, but when Tupac and Biggie was doing East Coast versus West Coast, and then a guy at my school was taking up Tupac's album, I'm like, we're in the South on the East Coast. He was like, in the lyrics, he said the west side of your town, the west side of your hood, like rep wherever you at in America. So you didn't realize that kids was interpreting all of this stuff
Yep.
rep your hood to beef against the other hood.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like you was repping your hood hard to flex on the other hood. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it went from Tupac to Biggie to Master P to the South to 50 Cent. Like that 10-year stretch of gangster rap when it was warring type lyrics, warring type beats, like everybody got caught in the vortex, bro, for a while with that, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you there. What happens as you try to navigate the streets? Your mom comes back. You're 18 years old. Now you're a legal adult. What's your next pivot? What's your next play? What's your process right now?
Gotcha. So yeah, I remember I called mom from a mental facility because at 17 I had gotten in a lot of trouble with the law, right? But it was because of my mental. I didn't realize I had bipolar disorder. But I was acting real strange, doing all kind of weird stuff. You know what I'm saying?
What were you conscious about that you felt like was weird?
Now, I mean, because I can look back and just see how I was moving. You know what I'm saying? I was talking out of my head. You know, I was talking as if I had so much money for it. I was like, you know, I told grandma, I said, hey, it's Christmas time. I'm gonna go put money in everybody's mailbox in the neighborhood just to get back to the neighborhood. You know, it's just I didn't have a dime. Right. You know what I mean?
Grandiose,
Grandiose thoughts.
That's part of the disorder.
Exactly.
Sure.
So my family didn't know what was going on. They was like, something going on with Marquise. You know, they was like, is it drugs? And nobody knew until I had an episode one time, and I ended up getting locked up. Got in a fight with a cat in the street. Right.
Yeah.
I had a ski mask on my head, rolled up, not with the intent to rob. But I had bought it that day from a beauty salon because it was cold outside. They didn't have no skull cap, so I said, "Well, give me a ski mask. I just roll it up. It's cool."
Sure.
I also had a gun on me at the time because I was still selling drugs. Yeah. And I was actually waiting for my plug to come up so I can re-up. Thankfully, it didn't happen before then. Right. But anyway, I'm talking to this cat this day, and then all day that day, I used to ride MARTA everywhere. I had no car. All day that day, I'm going around telling people, "Hey, I'm a rapper. Let me spit a freestyle for you. If you like what I say, you give me some money. If you don't, I'll give you some money." That worked all day, surprisingly. I had a pocket full of money. Riding MARTA all day doing that because I could spit back then, right? And I went to this one old cat right on Bankhead at the time. Told her the same pitch. Go on, grandboy, get up out of here, man. You trying to rob somebody? I said, no, I ain't trying to rob nobody, man. I ain't doing that. He went inside. Another old cat came out, picked up a beer bottle. Didn't even talk, just threw the beer bottle at me. It went by me. Yeah. It didn't hit me, but I'm a man of principle. Of course. You tried to hit me, so now I got to hit you. So I went over there, beat him up real quick. He was an old guy, so I didn't know I had to do too much. You know what I'm saying? But I had in my head, somebody gonna call the police. Yeah. So I started walking. I threw my gun because I just had a feeling the police was gonna really come. By the time I got to the stop sign, which was probably a 20-second walk, squad cars pulled up, guns out, everything. Put your hands up tight, John, right? So, long story short, I got locked up. I got charged with some heavy charges, and they put me in a mental hospital like 2 weeks later, just to find out that I had bipolar disorder.
So you was 18 years old when you found out you had bipolar?
I was 17.
17.
Yeah. When I got charged, I was 17. In the state of Georgia, you get charged as an adult at 17. So I still have that record right now, 20 years later. Okay. But I called mom. I said, "Hey," I said, "Mom, you need to come home. I need you here." You know what I'm saying? So she was like, "All right, I'm on the way." She was in Philly, so it wasn't a week later. She was back here. You know what I'm saying? But the transition was this. I also had a son. I had my first child at 17. My son. Now my son saved my life because after I got in that little trouble, and then after I got my mental together, I said, you know what? I gotta stay together. I got to get my stuff and stay right.
What did you do? How did you navigate the diagnosis? How did you navigate? Was it medication? Was it manifestation? Was it God? Like, how did you say you got your mental in order? How did that how do you intentionally push through that?
Yeah, so course of medication. I had to get the chemical balance back right. You see what I'm saying? Once I had my chemical balance back right, I didn't go to therapy. I didn't do therapy until I was in my 30s. That was years later because I really wasn't really comfortable with it at the time. But I just pretty much changed my environment. That's the first thing I had to do. I had to change people I was hanging around.
Right. Not an easy thing to do.
It's not, especially when you've been around them your whole life.
Yeah, I was
know
gonna
what I'm
say,
saying?
yeah.
A lot of people at the time was in college. You know, they was doing their thing.
Right.
And here I am, high school dropout. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had nothing going for myself. I got 3 felonies now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang. So when I had my son, I realized that, okay, I got to live for more than me now. I don't want my son, I don't want to not be here for my son. I'm facing 30 years. I ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Georgia was historically known. My cousin got cased up in Georgia as an adult at 16 years old. Matter of fact, he was 15. No, 15 going on 16. So he might have been 16 when the time the trial came. But they was historically known for putting black boys into prison for anything back in those days. And so I'm processing, like, when you got those charges, like, did they say that the mental health diagnosis avoided you? How much did you do time? Like, how much?
Nah,
time?
I didn't. I did county time, but and that wasn't even long. I went to court though for a whole year. Every month I'm in court. They just keep on rescheduling me. Right. So my aunt, you know, shout out to my aunt, man, because she did what she knew to do. She went on. She got the best law firm, the Johnny Cochran firm, just based off of the name to represent me. You know what I'm saying? He didn't not one time bring up the mental stuff.
Okay.
Not one time. Me and my dad kept telling him, hey, bring up the fact that this man was sick when this happened.
Yeah.
Like, this should be thrown out. You know what I'm saying? It was a fist fight. I shouldn't be getting charged with aggravated assault, possession of a firearm, and attempted armed robbery. But I knew not to go to trial because I knew I was going to get railroaded.
Right.
I knew for a fact they was going to use the fact, he had a ski mask, even though it rolled up, he had a ski mask. Right. He had a gun. That's already aggravated assault right there with the fight and attempted armed robbery. I had no win in that.
Right. Yeah.
So I said, I'm not going to trial. My mom said, go to trial. I said, I'm not going. They're going to put me in prison. I already know it. I just know it. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't go to trial. I ended up taking a plea out. I pleaded out, and they was like, you know, get your GED within a year. You got 10 years probation. You got to do $1,000 community service. I said, all right, cool. But here's the messed up part. My lawyer told me not to take the first offenders right. That was my only time getting in trouble, my first and last time since then. And he was like, I said, well, why not? Because if I do the first offenders right, that's tough and fall off my record. Yeah. After I passed that, you know, that 18, them 10 years or whatever. So he was like, well, you got to think about it. You're 18 now. You got 10 years probation. If you get in trouble by the time you're 28, this can all resurface.
Even the length of time of probation, 10 years, that's crazy.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
And I'm like,
For a
I'm still
juvenile?
trying to process why lawyers telling you not to use your First Amendment.
That's what his logic was. He was like, because it's a good chance that you're going to get in some trouble again between 18 and 28.
I mean, like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was feeling that. I was like, yeah, I am one step in, one step out of the street still. Right. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But not knowing, I haven't gotten in trouble since then. So this stuff could really be off my record right now.
So does that affect your voting status still?
That affects my voting. That affects my firearm status. If I can get a firearm legally, if I can go to the Army, that affects all that. Job still look at it crazy.
Yeah, because I know you can't do certain federal jobs at all with anything on your record. Yeah.
So
your son was conceived, born after you went during that process. Yeah. During that process. Okay. Yep. Okay.
And then I met my wife around that same time. So I met my wife who was 18. So I'm still going through the court process when I met her. And man, my wife, she's my superpower and my superhero at the same time.
Come on, wife.
Man, listen, I'm hearing this is synonymous with almost everybody we've interviewed.
Yes.
It's a pivotal point when they meet the right woman.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Preach, preacher.
So you see why I say what I say
That's
off camera?
That's Deani. That got nothing to do with me.
I think I'm all right. I'm on a line, but if a woman next to my son, sorry. I digress a bit. Yeah. Go ahead. So,
but I think it's important to note that, man, when it comes to, we talked about this whole new trend of all this gender war crap. That's a bunch of foolery.
Foolishness.
Men need women, and women need men. And the reality is, in a healthy construct, we make each other better. We make each other more powerful. We can do more. We can stabilize more. We can help more. We can raise more together. And every vice and every spirit in this world is out to divide that, to keep that apart. Like, and we just got to be wise enough to be like, oh, I'm going to have a feeling. I'm going to have a thought. But if it's taking us apart from each other, I'm trapping it. I'm not letting it stay here. I'm not letting it hang over. Like, nope, You know what I mean? Like we just have to be very intentional, like we are on this platform.
Yeah.
We're not talking about you being your greatest version of yourself without your wife. Like we know part of your journey of becoming the greatest version is a woman helping you in that journey. You know what I mean? So shout out to your wife, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out to my wife, man. She was my motivation. She her along with my son, I had found two whys. Like, why do I need to get better? My son and my old lady.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got, then a year later we got pregnant with my first daughter. We got married that same year. So we got married at 20. Been married now 18 years, you know.
Man, shout out, man. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, man.
Love it,
Appreciate
man.
Season.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Y'all adults now. You know what I'm
We
saying?
grew
The
up
mar-
together.
Yeah.
Like we became adults together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a transition.
Right.
But that's when things started lining up as far as like the positivity part. Like I gotta stay positive. I gotta stay focused. I got people relying on me now. You know what I'm saying? I got a whole family at 20 years old. I got a wife and 2 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you remember slipping up? Of course, because we don't want to give the impression that once you make a decision, there's a bed of roses and it's it's a downhill battle from there. Like, do you remember times where you're like, man, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's easy to get back in the streets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
Man, listen, man. I thought about it so many times to get back in the streets. Not because I want to do some hot stuff, because I needed money.
Yeah.
Bruh, people don't know. You literally have no desire for the streets until you broke and you got people you care about. Like I remember trying to raise money before I came to Bermuda, and I worked like a runaway slave cutting grass.
Yeah.
And I saved up all the money I had. It really wasn't nothing. So I went to one of my friends and was like, bro, can you flip this for me? Because I knew what he did.
Yeah.
He was like, Crump, only because it's you, I do it this one time. But he said, the next time you're going to owe me and you have to give me something more than this.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done. That's the closest I got right there. I was like, bro, I appreciate you. Give me my double back and I'm out, man. But he was like, you can't just give me cash and then I flip it for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta give me, you know what I mean? You gotta do something for me. You gotta do. Like, I was like, I'm not him.
Yeah.
I'm so not him. But I'm just like, the only reason I came to him because I'm working with what I know to work with, what I have at 20. That time I was 22.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, I'm about to go to an island where you know, Chizzy, $400, $500 ain't nothing. But 20 years ago, if you had in America as a 22-year-old, you had $400 or $500 saved of cash. That was significant. But I just knew what I'm trying to build a family. That's nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, it doesn't matter if you got married or children or got a degree or raised in the church. When you are from the hood and there's not a lot of options being exposed to you and you know they're getting money over there, for a man, it's very hard to try to stand on your own 2 feet. You know what I mean? With no credit, with no investments, with no savings, and not begging your parents to say, all right, I'm just going to tough it and watch my wife and kids struggle, watch me and my relationship struggle. It's like, that's the hard battle that every young man who ever got caught up or whoever was involved, you fight that all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I can remember vividly. I had an interview for a job. This job was paying $50K. It was gonna be the best paying job I had if I would have got it. Blew the interview at the party. The dude was like, "Man, this was the best interview I've ever given." I said, "Well, shoot, when can I start?" He said, "I can't. You can't." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Background."
Yeah, but I said felony charge.
Look, man.
But then that wasn't even the turning point for me. The turning point was when I couldn't even get a job at Family Dollar.
Dang.
I got it. The lady hired me. She was like, "I really want to hire you." She said, "Because I know you ain't about that crazy stuff. I know you just want to take care of your family." She said, "It's only paying $8 an hour. Come on, I'll take it. They gonna pay for something every month. You know what I'm saying?" And she said, "Well, listen, I know your background situation." She said, "I'm gonna hire you, but just know corporate may come back and say differently." But she said, "For right now, I'm gonna go ahead and get you started working." I said, "All right, well, I'll take it." Man, I worked there for a good month, man. I was knocking it out. I was the best Family Dollar worker in there because I took pride in what I did.
Yeah,
Okay, for $8 or $18.
Because your why was motivating all of that.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Man, she called me in the office one day. I went to work. I knew what it was. Her face was just like distraught. I was like, I already know. She said,
So let me ask a question. As an outsider looking in, man, is this a policy or a practice? Because there's an environment that gets created over certain things that we assume are there. So
It's a policy, but it's heightened when you're a black man in America.
So in America, the policy is if once you have a criminal record, you cannot be hired.
A lot of organizations. If I got options, like if you back in the day, especially 20 plus years ago, you're not getting one person that's filling an application. You're getting multiple, but you start to weed out the pack on certain criteria.
Right. I get it.
One of them being whoever got a felony, you can drop them off.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not even going.
So it's more of a practice then, because it's not like
But
legally.
but some like government roles, some
Yeah.
jobs you cannot have a felony. But the point I'm making is, culturally there's a subculture when you're a black man.
No,
with a
100%.
felony.
Yeah,
You just seem to be
100%.
violent, and then if it's anything dealing with violence,
Oh yeah.
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 Automatically.
They read the paper. They say, "Nah." They don't even give you a chance to see your face. They just say, "Marquise Jackson, convicted felon. This is felonies." Oh, next.
Right. And that's the irony in all of this is that when you go to prison, when you go to jail, the whole point should be
To rehabilitate you.
rehabilitation. So once you go through a process of rehabilitation, you should come out on the other side and be able to present yourself and be received in a different way. But we already know culturally what that looks like.
where are you fighting your like? Because I mean, you got charged at 17. You was legally a minor, but the law was different back in Georgia back in that time. But there has to be an organization that can help you after this whole time of having a good record.
Yeah. I found out one matter of fact, a good friend of mine. She used to work for Fulton County government, which is perfect. That's why I got locked up in Fulton County. She said you need to go to this department to get it expunged. She said it may work, it may not. But she said you at least got to try.
Yeah.
So that's the process I'm in now. I'm seeing if I'm putting forth the effort.
Yeah.
I just got to see for myself.
Well, man, if y'all know any resources out there, man, to help people who's been got charged as a minor for a felony charge, but been clean slate for 20 plus years, doing great work in the community, man. Let's help my man out.
And this goes back to the importance of having the right community around you. Because as we know, it's easy to just slip back into the streets, go back to stuff that you're comfortable with, stuff that you're known, that you can have some level of success in. But when you shift your mindset to say your why is different, your association is different, you know, your resources obviously become different, but there's a level of intentionality.
Yeah.
There's a choice that has to be made. You don't just wake up one day and say, all right, I'm going to do this. You have to be really intentional about your circle, about the people in your life, about the direction you want to have. Yeah. And I don't want to understate that for people that just say, that just see you and be like, yeah, it just worked out in this favor. No, you took intentional steps.
Oh, facts. Yeah.
To get to a particular place where you're writing books.
Yeah.
Where you're read inspires.
Yeah.
Like that's a different level of intentionality. Because it could have been completely left.
Yeah.
Red could have been the red of
The hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting on millions of dollars from the streets. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people who take that trajectory, make that choice, man. And it's applaudable and it's commendable for you. Primarily because everything, I'm listening to your story, everything was stacked against you for you to take that negative approach and take that negative outcome, man. So it's and I don't want people to look at it and be like, yeah, that's just normal. We hear that. No, we don't hear that all the time. We see the inverse more times than not.
And what happened to lead to Red Inspires? Like you're doing this, but what was the moment that Red Inspires were born? And tell people all the stuff that you're doing with Red Inspires.
Yeah, man. So I've always liked to give back to people as far as giving value, whatever that may be. You know what I'm saying? And a buddy of mine I was trying to figure out my purpose for a long time. And a buddy of mine, man, shout out Nard, man, I've been knowing him since I was like 8, man, my dog. He was like, man, your words. You know what I'm saying? You have a way with words. You have a way to make people feel better about whatever they're going through. So once I started realizing that to be the truth, I started getting more intentional with using my words. Like every day I wake up, my goal is to inspire at least one person I talk to, whether it be a random person in and out, whether it be somebody in my family, whether it be a friend, whether it be a phone call, text, email. I want to inspire somebody.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Because in turn, it inspires me. It's a give and take. You know what I'm saying?
How old were you when this started to happen?
Man, I was 30, man. I was in my 30s. This recently started happening, bro. Like I started getting very intentional about this. And once I realized I had a story that can impact people, I started writing these poems in this book 20 years ago. I was 17, around this same time. That was another thing that saved my life, being able to write and get it out some kind of way.
It's cathartic,
And I use that as it's therapeutic, man. I use that as a form of therapy. So I would write poems all the time. And when I got the book completed last year, and I started selling the book, and people started giving me reviews and like input, and I was like, wow, I really got something right here.
Sure.
It's bigger than me. Like, I'm really inspiring people with this book right here, man.
What's your favorite poem in the book?
The favorite poem is my first poem, Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it talks about what we already just talked about. It talks about my upbringing with my mom and the transitioning from the point to where I went through the trauma. I transitioned to being able to learn from it and being able to forgive and continue to grow as a man. So that first poem is like the hooker of the whole book. Once you read that poem, you be like, oh, I got to read the rest of this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was just, like I said, this book is a poetic story of trauma, transparency, and triumph. You know, in order for you to be triumphant, you have to go through some battles.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
come on.
I love
You know what
it.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how can the people know more about what Red Inspires got going on, man? How can they find out about you?
For sure, man. You can follow me on Instagram at Red Inspires, social media, YouTube at Red Inspires. Go to my website, iamredinspires.com. You can get a link to my book on there. TikTok and Twitter, Red Inspire. I made it very simple. You know what I'm saying? So you can find it's the brand. I want you to be able to find me with all ease.
Right.
Because I'm guaranteed to impact you in some kind of way.
I love it, man. Talk about the shirt too, man. The paper don't sleep.
Paper don't sleep, man. Hey, man, shout out to my brothers, man, Pookie Emmanuel, my cousin Treon. We've been doing this for 4 years now. Paper don't sleep, man. It's meant to inspire and motivate you to get on your grind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's money being made 24/7, 365. You need money to survive and live and thrive.
Sure.
So paper don't sleep, man. Anybody can relate to it, man. And of course, like I said on top, is dream and achieve. Follow your dreams. Follow your dream. And don't let money be the driving force of following your dreams. The money gonna follow you once you find your purpose and you move in alignment with that.
Right.
And another thing too, man. Shout out Noel. That's my dog.
Man.
King Noel.
I remember Noel saying,
Yeah, man.
Red's coming on, and he's like, I was like, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah,
man.
man.
Noel.
He put this together,
Noel
man.
motivates,
And that's been my
man.
dog for a
For
long
sure.
time. We actually had a virtual mentorship last year.
Okay.
8-week mentorship. It was dope. We plan on getting it back going, man. Lost Boys to Man presents The Relentless Man. It was dope. We touched these young
Nice.
people,
I like
man.
that. I like that.
I got a book. I got my second book coming out October 21st on my anniversary again. Boys Don't Cry, Men Do.
Okay.
It's I'm gonna tell you the twist on how dope that is. So this book is a book of poems, right? Each poem has its own story. And the Boys Don't Cry, Men Do book, I'm gonna have a short story that tie into each poem in the book. So it's gonna be a continuation, but it's gonna give a broader explanation or a storyline behind each poem.
Each poem.
I love it.
like it, man.
Yeah.
Chizzy, what's the takeaway for you from this episode?
First of all, why Red though? We never got into that. Why? Where'd you get the nickname Red? Is that
because he light skinned in the
Boom.
hood.
because it's light
There you
skin?
go.
That's what
I'm
it
about
is.
to say,
Yeah,
it's
like-
not significant about
Okay,
that.
okay.
It's not significant
Whoa,
about that.
bro.
I'm
I
like,
mean, I just had to know.
You wasn't on the island. You was on the island. You was on a rock, bro. Like away from all civilization, bro. What? God, dog.
light skin, that's it. Man. Get called
So you
red.
should be red too. Red?
I'm high yellow. He
be orange?
red. I'm high.
Okay.
Bro.
Hey, man, we're gonna learn you something soon later.
Hey, listen, man. For more information
Yeah, man.
on the Boy Man King podcast, you know what it is. Tap in with us on our YouTube page.
Right.
Subscribe, comment, share, and also on IG, Boy Man King Talk, man. This is where it goes down when men become kings and learn
sir.
how to be kings, man. Man, thank you again, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it,
Appreciate
man.
you, man.
Love
All the
it.
great work you're doing.
It's a pleasure.
Boy Man King, where the journey continues.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Salute.
Appreciate it.
Great episode.
Enjoy it, baby. Long
This
time.
guy